I'd like to welcome you to our Working with Portraits webinar. This is designed to support the school annual online program. Our goal this afternoon will be to focus on the functions of the program associated with student portraits. Specifically, we will be reviewing printed class sheets for other teachers and parents to review and correct, strategies for detecting duplicate images, correcting student names, categorizing students, and using the flow function to create portrait pages. This webinar will be approximately 20 to 30 minutes, more or less 30 minutes. So let's get started. So printing class sheets, let's discuss that first. Once you log into your account, you can click on Create, and you can come down to Image Library right here. Once we get to our image library, under your portraits, if you have sent your images in or if you've uploaded your images to portraits, they will appear right here. So if we click on one of our classes and we need to print a sheet off and hand it to this teacher right here to check, and things that we're looking for are for correcting any misspelled names, correcting any student that shouldn't be in the class and what class they should actually be in, and we're going to check for duplicates. Also, we're going to be checking for what is a retake and what is the main photo that's going to be used. So we're going to come up here to this word preview. If we hover over it, you will see preview this selected categories image in a PDF. So when we click this button right here, we're going to see a second tab opens up, and we have a PDF. So right here are all the images along with the names that were in that folder. We can print this off and we can hand it to the teacher to look at. Make sure names are corrected. Any duplicates, any students that shouldn't be in this class are moved over to another class. So while that's being done, let's go over and talk about the next thing, that's editing the class list in the coverage report. So let's click on Create, and we'll come down here to Coverage Report. So here in the coverage report, some of the basic functions are you can go through the list of names right here, and you can make any changes you need to, such as, see, you have John right here, that is a lowercase j, and that needs to be an uppercase, so you can actually delete that, retype it, and then it's fixed on this person's image. So that way you do not have to go into the portraits, hunt down which class this student is in, and then make their changes. You can make changes on a overall on here versus one photo or one folder at a time. If you need to, you can come over here to the next one. This is merge duplicates. Sometimes you may have a duplicate student, such as here. This student just has a labeled 5th grade versus this student that doesn't have anything. So you can click the one you want and then merge this one. Scroll on down here, and here in the bottom right hand corner, you click Apply Changes. And then it says one pair successfully merged. So it just merges the records. So that way you don't have 2 or 3 of the same person, but maybe a little information like Erica here has a middle name. Another Erica has a grade. Another Erica has a student number. So you can actually merge all 3 of these records in just to do one person. All right. So next, we're going to go back to our image library. So that teacher has gotten back with us with our list and has made some corrections. And so we're going to talk about some of the first things we can do right here. So first thing she said was this Madison and this Mary, they're not in the same, Madison's not in this class. So first thing we're going to do is click and hold this image, and she's actually down here in Weller's class. So we're going to drag and drop this image right here. We can move it because we see the word move right next to this number of 45. So we can make that move right there. Here we have two images, basically the same image. It happens to get two identical images uploaded on your portraits. So we're going to click on one, and we're going to tell the program we don't want to use this one. It's a duplicate image. So the first thing we can do is come up here to tag name. And really what we want is to get to this details tab. The second option is use portraits. Currently we are saying use this portrait. Click this down arrow and say don't use portrait. And if you click done before clicking apply changes, you'll get this little warning saying you have unsaved changes. So make sure you hit apply changes and then done. And then you'll get this little box right here that says don't use. That's going to let you know the program knows not to use this photo. Here we have the same thing. We can click on one, and we can actually click on this little orange dot right here. It says view image details. Again, hit the details, come down to use portrait and say don't use portrait. Apply this change, and there we go. Now, should we have something else like this student right here is actually in the wrong grade. This is actually a second grader. We can move him out. This student is actually a third grader. We can move that one out. This student is actually a fourth grader. We can move that one out. Here we have one at the bottom here. It's the same person. This is the first photo. Well, this one right here is the first photo. And this one right here could be the retake. So they want to make sure they use the retake. Again, we can click this information button, go up to details, go to use portrait, and we're going to say don't use this portrait, apply the change, and then done. Now, if you have a student, say Jared here, if you have a student for whatever reason it may be, either legal issues, safety issues, that the student's image cannot be in the yearbook, what you can do is click this view image details, come up to details right here. Under use portrait, we're going to say use no photo. And when we get to flowing, we'll show you what it looks like. So you can click use no photo, apply changes, and done. Now this is going to tell you that it's going to use a default no image available. The person's name will be in the book, it just their image will not be. Next, we're going to talk about no photos. So if you have a student that doesn't have a photo, missed photo day, or showed up late in the school year, we're going to talk about adding a no photo to to this teacher. So right here, we're going to go down, and here we have a folder called no photo. We're going to click on this, and here we have different styles of no photos. This very first one, we're going to click on the view image details. Now right here, they are all currently tagged, and you can tell they're tagged because they have this little green tag in the bottom left-hand corner of each one. Now this is very important when you go to change the person's name. Do not click on this little pencil, because if you do, and we'll do it right here, if we change first, if we change last to first, and hit save, and then done, you will see now they all say first, well, name first on every single one of these. So if we were to come up here and change it to the student that's missing, let's see, John Smith. We hit save and done. Now see every one of your no photos say Smith John. To avoid this, we're going to come back up here and we're actually going to click remove. We're going to break this tag. Once that tag is broken, we can come up here to add. We can add the first name and then the last name. There are asterisks right behind the E right here. The first and last name is required. Then we hit save and then done. Then you will see that this folder photo stays right here while the rest of them, we could actually change the rest of them here. Let's do this real quick. There we go. Now, once you change one of them, you will see that it's not right here. It didn't go anywhere. Okay. So you will see right here that the name disappeared or the image disappeared, or what, it didn't really disappear. The image library sorts images in alphabetical order. So that name that we just did is right here at the bottom. So we're going to click and hold this one, and we're going to move it to this class right here. So when we get there, here is our no photo for this student. Your photographer should have all these photos already pre-sized when they send them to you. Okay, so now that we got all of that, next we're going to talk about flowing the photos onto the page. We're going to go to plan. We're going to go to our page ladder here. Now there's two different ways of setting everything up. First, we can do things through templates. We can go to design. We can come down to portrait right here. By clicking the down arrow, we can do three different things here. First, we can go to all portraits, and you can go through this whole entire list of different templates. Next, you can do different size photos if you want. And that's what these are. This is a 4x6 photo, 9x6, and then they're all that way. So if you were to take one and drag it over, that's what these photos are right here, is the 6x9. Another thing you can do is you can come down here to 1 to 10 photos, and that's what's on the template right here. You can move that over. So it has anywhere from 1 to 10 photos. So for us, we're going to go right up here, 31 to 40, and see. We can pick this template right here. We just click and hold, drag it over. That's asking me, do I want to retain existing content? Yes. And then we can go over here, bring this one over. For another page, these are all customizable, and we talk about customizing templates and how to change things over. That's actually in the next webinar. Now, these templates actually have the flow element already on them and already ready to go. So we'll go ahead and save that, and we'll go ahead and talk about the flow element next. All right, so here we have a blank page that it was done up. You may have designed this page yourself, put some stuff on there and made it look the way you wanted it, either from last year or this year or whatever. But we need a flow element on here. The flow elements can be found here on the flow tab here on the left, and you can drag in one of these 6 flow elements over. So we're going to drag this one over. Now you'll see this one has a lot of images, and we'll talk about how to edit this down. One thing I want to show you is that you cannot move this flow element outside of the blue box, it will snap back into place and it will let you know that you cannot take that outside these blue boxes. So one thing I want to talk about is this toolbar right here, right above the flow element. Once you click onto this flow element, this is when this toolbar opens up. So if you click off of it, it disappears. You click on the flow element and you'll see this dotted yellow line all the way around it. That's when the toolbar reappears. On this toolbar, you have your font, so any fonts you've selected, any styles you may have created. So we can click Classroom and it'll put all your names right here according to any style you have created. So we can select a font. Next is the font size. If you see this red X right here, it means that your font is actually larger than the box that it's in. So to reduce this, we just need to come down and keep shifting the names down until you find a size where the red X goes away. You can also click inside that box and put an odd number in there. Next is the color. You can actually change the colors to any one of these colors right here. So if you want to make them pink, you can make them pink. Next is the stroke style. So this puts a border around the photos. Next, you can increase the thickness of that border. About a 3 for these size is comfortable. If you go to larger images, you can probably bump that number up just a little bit without it overpowering the image. This particular font is already bold, but you have the bold option, italic, underline, text transform. You can do all uppercase or lowercase letters. The trash can if you want to remove this. Duplicate if you want to duplicate this particular one and move it over to the next screen. Next, we'll come back over here to this flow options. When we click the down arrow right here, real quick, here's a tip. This little thumbnail, this little push pin right here, if you click that, it turns that into an X, and you can actually move this over to the side so you can see everything on this page, or move it to the other side so you can see everything on this page. First thing I suggest is turn off automatic. If you leave it on and you reduce the number of rows, you're going to see that these portraits start stretching. So we're going to put that back. So just take it off on automatic. Once you do and you start reducing rows, then you can start seeing rows disappear. You can also, and this is the columns, so you can actually move the columns over. One thing, if you try to move the columns up to 8, you're going to see this little message pop up. Once again, it does not want you to cross over that blue line. Right here are the portrait dimensions. So you'll notice again, you can't move over that across that blue line, so it won't let you change the width, but you can change the height. If you want to change the width, simply remove one column, maybe add a row, and then you can move if you still can't, come out down to the names real quick. A tip, come down to the name width. You can drop that down just a little bit and then change that width. Next is portrait spacing. So if you want to move this photos, just give them a little bit of a space, you can. Vertical, you can move those a little bit. Portrait shape, you have rectangle, circle, pentagon, whatever shape you want. With the rectangle, you do have this rounded corner option. So you can round off the corners just a little bit. Once we're done with that and we have everything set up, one thing to keep in mind before we flow, any changes to the font, any changes to the font color, font sizes, any borders, or any thing you need to change with the height, the width, any spacing, the number of rows and columns, that have to be done first before you flow. So if you like what you see here and you want to move this over here, all you have to do is come over here to duplicate. Then you can move this over here. Now you're probably looking at, well, the names are on the left and I want the names on the right. With this still selected, come down here to Portrait Flow, come up to Name Options. Name Positioning, you're going to see names on left horizontal. We want names on right horizontal. Click that, and there's your names on the right. Now, real quick before we move on to the next one, if you see one of like the grade levels and you see something like this, this is a image frame. These cannot be flowed into, so you would have to remove these and get a flow element like this, the one with a little person in the middle. All right, so now that we have everything set up and we're ready to flow into this, we're going to check our category and make sure we select our staff right here. Name format, we're going to go last first. This means the first name's first, last name's last. We have 22 images, 0 flowed images, 22 images remaining. And we'll explain why this is important. Your start and stop, you're starting on page 4 and you're going to stop on page 4, and that's what this means. Right here you have 0 available positions, and we're going to explain what that means right here. And what that means is any changes you make on the pages, if you don't save first, the program doesn't know there's changes or there's this flow element on there. So watch this area right here, and then once we hit the save icon right up here under the word status, you will see this went from red to white text, and it says 36. So this tells us I have 36 available positions, but I won't need 36 because I got 22 images. So once we're happy with everything, we got everything set up, we can come down here to this teal button and hit flow, and all the images flow in. Here you will see 22 images, 22 flowed images, 0 images remaining. Now, for any reason you need to move this down because you want to put images right above the portraits right here, you will notice that it won't let you. So to fix this, we're going to come down here to reset, which is right next to flow. And then you will see that the dotted line comes down here to the bottom. What happened to the rest of these blue boxes is they didn't disappear, they're just hidden. So if we double click on the blue boxes, you'll see that they're hidden right here. So we go up to flow options, and instead of 6 rows, we just go to 4 rows. Now those disappear. We can click off of those. We can come down to flow again. And yes, we want to save our changes. And there we go. Now we can move this down here, and now we can move whatever images we want or whatever else we need to do here, or we can center this a little bit better. Maybe put some images down here, decorate it any way you want, but there you go. So we're going to see this, and then we'll move on. So flowing to 2 pages. So we're going to go next to our category, and we're going to select the class that we just edited here. And we're going to talk about flowing to 2 different pages. So setting up the flow is the same way. Check our category, check our names. Here we have 36 images, 0 flowed images, 36 images remaining. Here we got our start, and you can click into this box right here, change it to 6, and then a stop. Remember, we want to stop on another page, so we want to stop on page 7. So here we're starting on page 6, stopping on page 7, 50 available positions. And then we're just going to hit flow. And so here we go. Our class is flowing in. Now, if you remember before, we had that one student that couldn't have their photo in the book. So here's their photo right here. It's no photo available. So that's what that one will say. And then here's the no photo. Now, some of you may set up your classes where the teacher is actually flown first. In this case, you will see that this teacher is actually second and actually should be the first one. To fix this, we're going to hit reset. Then we're going to click on this little dot right here next to the teacher's name. And it brings out that screen that we saw when we were in the image library. We're going to come over here to details. So we're going to come down to this third one, type. Now this type is listing him as a student. There is a hierarchy here where teacher will go first, then assistant, then student, then other. Other could be like the classroom, the dog, or whatever support animal that you had in that classroom. So we're going to select teacher, apply changes, done, and then usually just clicking off and then clicking back on. Right there, you will see now he's at the top. Then just hit flow, and then there we go. He's the second person.
Probably, yeah, it's going to be the same issue there. Now, what's the other one?
Okay, so next, we're going to talk about a missing student. Now, this is a problem we see once in a while. So here we're going to set everything up, and we're going to say page 8 to page 9. Okay. And we're going to see, so then what we're going to do is we're going to hit flow. Yes. Want to save it? Nope. I think I selected the wrong class. Let's do this. Yes. Okay, there we go. This is what I wanted to do. So it's setting up the flow element. It could be that in trying to count the number of students, usually yearbooks with larger classes, this tends to happen in counting on all these. Sometimes you forget that one student. That's where this information comes into play under name format. Here you have 34 images, 33 images flowed, and 1 image remaining. It's a good idea to check this to make sure that this says 0 and not 1. We've had instances where parents will call and say, hey, my kid's not in the book. And we look, and then we see that there was 1 image remaining because one kiddo got left off, or the flow element wasn't set up right, or whatever it may be. So that is definitely one thing to check right there. Okay, so at this time, we will open it up to any questions.
I have a question. So
Yes.
if we create something like this and we create kind of a page layout that we want to use on all of our portrait pages, can we save that as
Yes.
our own template to be able to reuse?
Yes, so if you want to save this template right here to use, you can come up to File and then Save as a Template. Give it a name like Class Photos. Make sure both is selected. Or you can do left or right, whatever you want. Some schools do like left page or photos, right pages or candids. So either one you want, and then just hit save. And then under design, you come up here under custom, then my templates, and then there's your classroom pages. Then all you have to do is click and hold, bring those over, and then there's your pages.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? All right, I want to thank you all for joining us this afternoon. The demonstration of the functions related to creation of portrait pages should eliminate some of the trial and error that occur when working with in a yearbook. Printing portrait sheets and editing class data ahead of time should result in a better accuracy on some of the most important pages of a yearbook. Feel free to join us next time as we look at creating activity and candid pages. I want to thank you all for joining us. If you have any questions or if you rewatch the video and have any questions, don't be afraid to email me at support@schoolannual.com or call in, and I can help walk you through any issues that you may have. And again, thank you all for joining us.